It was a bold legal gamble, one that only Donald Trump, a man notorious for testing the boundaries of law and order, could dare to take. But the gamble didn't pay off. Late yesterday, Judge Juan Merchan of New York delivered a devastating blow to Trump's legal team by rejecting their motion to vacate his 34 felony convictions on immunity grounds. These convictions stem from Trump's involvement in a hush-money scheme to silence adult film actress Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election, a case that has rocked the political and legal landscapes in equal measure. The question on everyone's mind now is, what happens next? With this immunity argument obliterated, Trump's legal team is left clinging to one last hope, a pending motion to dismiss the convictions in the interest of justice. But as the clock ticks closer to the 2024 election and potentially Trump's return to the White House, will this legal battle end before his next term begins? Or will he find himself facing the unprecedented reality of serving as president under the shadow of criminal sentencing? In this comprehensive analysis, we'll break down the court's latest ruling, Trump's dubious legal strategies, and what's on the horizon for the most polarizing figure in modern American politics. From the failed immunity motion to the precarious future of the pending justice motion, let's unpack every twist and turn. The motion for immunity, a desperate legal move. Donald Trump's motion to vacate his 34 felony convictions was built on a novel, if legally shaky, argument. His lawyers didn't claim that the actions forming the basis of his convictions, the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels and subsequent cover-up, were part of his official duties as president. After all, these actions occurred before Trump took office. Instead, his legal team argued that some evidence presented during the trial touched on his conduct as president and therefore should have been excluded under the doctrine of presidential immunity. This argument rested on the U.S. Supreme Court's prior rulings about presidential immunity, which protect sitting presidents from lawsuits and criminal charges related to their official duties. Trump's attorneys claimed that references to meetings and interactions in the White House, such as testimony from former aides Hope Hicks and Madeleine Westerhout, unfairly implicated his official conduct in proving his private wrongdoing. But Judge Merchan saw right through this strategy. In a scathing 40-page opinion, the judge dismantled Trump's argument piece by piece. First, he clarified that presidential immunity only applies to actions that are part of a president's official duties. Covering up a hush money payment to influence an election, an act that took place before Trump was even elected, could never fall under this category. Moreover, the judge noted that Trump's legal team failed to object to this evidence during the trial, effectively waiving their right to raise it now. The Supreme Court precedent and misinterpretations. The ruling didn't just refute Trump's arguments, it also highlighted a fundamental misunderstanding of legal precedent. The U.S. Supreme Court has established clear boundaries between official conduct, which can be shielded under immunity, and private actions, which remain subject to prosecution. Trump's legal team attempted to blur these lines by arguing that evidence of post-election conduct tainted the trial. However, Judge Merchan firmly pointed out that the trial focused overwhelmingly on Trump's actions prior to taking office, actions squarely outside the scope of presidential immunity. Moreover, Judge Merchan emphasized that even if minor references to White House meetings were made during the trial, they were irrelevant to the core facts of the case. The jury's verdict was based on concrete evidence, financial records, testimony from Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, and corroborating witnesses who painted a damning picture of a calculated scheme to influence the 2016 election. Harmless error. Why the evidence didn't matter. One of the most critical aspects of Judge Merchan's ruling was his determination that any references to Trump's official conduct were ultimately inconsequential to the jury's verdict. In legal terms, this is known as harmless error. While no trial is entirely free of errors, only those that significantly affect the outcome of the case can be grounds for overturning a conviction. In this instance, the overwhelming weight of evidence against Trump, including testimony from Michael Cohen, financial records, and other corroborating witnesses, rendered any potential errors irrelevant. The judge's ruling emphasized the fundamental fairness of Trump's trial, noting that the jury's decision was based on a mountain of credible evidence. This is a critical point. Not only does it shut down Trump's immunity argument, but it also reinforces the integrity of the judicial process in a case that has been heavily scrutinized by the public. The pending motion to dismiss in the interest of justice. With the immunity argument now dead, Trump's legal team is pinning their hopes on a second motion, a plea to dismiss the convictions in the interest of justice. This legal mechanism allows a trial court to vacate a conviction if it finds that continuing to impose the sentence would result in manifest injustice. However, such motions are rarely granted, and Trump's case appears to be no exception. In their filing, Trump's attorneys argued that his recent victory in the 2024 election should absolve him of any wrongdoing related to the 2016 campaign. This argument is both legally and morally dubious. Winning an election does not erase past crimes, especially when those crimes were committed to influence the very democratic process that Trump claims to represent. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, in its response, systematically dismantled Trump's claims. Prosecutors highlighted the overwhelming evidence of his guilt, the fairness of the trial, and Trump's own behavior during the proceedings. They argued that Trump's repeated attacks on the court, the prosecutors, and even the jurors themselves demonstrated a blatant disregard for the rule of law, hardly the conduct of someone seeking justice. The road ahead: sentencing and appeals. Assuming the judge denies this second motion, as legal experts widely predict, the next step will be sentencing. This raises a critical question: when should Trump's sentence be imposed? Some argue that sentencing should happen immediately, sending a strong message about accountability. Others suggest that the sentence could be imposed but suspended until after Trump's presidency, should he win the 2024 election. This would strike a balance between upholding the rule of law and avoiding the constitutional crisis of incarcerating a sitting president. Trump's legal team will undoubtedly appeal any unfavorable rulings, dragging the case through New York's appellate courts and potentially all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. This process could take years, meaning the ultimate resolution of Trump's criminal liability might not come until long after his political future is decided. Donald Trump's latest legal defeat is a significant milestone in a case that has captivated the nation. By rejecting his immunity argument, Judge Merchan has affirmed the principle that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. While Trump's legal team continues to fight on multiple fronts, the walls are closing in. With each passing day, the likelihood of Trump facing real consequences for his actions grows stronger. As the clock ticks toward the 2024 election and beyond, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Trump's legal troubles derail his political ambitions? Or will he once again defy the odds, emerging from this storm unscathed? One thing is certain: the coming months will be pivotal in determining not just Trump's fate, but the future of American democracy itself. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this historic case and its far-reaching implications.